5 seconds.
Okay.
And we can start. Okay. Welcome back to Millennial Thoughts Pod with your... Oh, that's horrible. My bad. Welcome back to Millennial Thoughts with your girl, Alicia. Today we are talking with a fellow person about politics. Her name is Hope, and I'm so glad she came on this podcast. Y'all know everything that's going on in this day and age. We need to make sure we're voting. We need to make sure we know who we are electing, and we need to make sure that we are able to put our voices out there and be heard. So I have brought somebody on here that we can know and learn about different things that we can do as a community and different things that we can get involved in basically at the different levels. So thanks for joining me, Hope. How are you
I'm
doing?
good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm glad that you could come on. I would just like to ask you if you can give just like a little bit of information about you, who you are, maybe your background.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Hope Harmon. I'm a county commissioner in Ben Hill County, Georgia, where we have about roughly 16,000 people that live here. I live in South Georgia. I pretty much lived here my whole life, went away to college and decided to come back. My background is in government. And I got elected in 2016, and I've kind of been on this journey with local county government ever since.
Okay. What is your position in the politics you said it was?
I am actually a county commissioner here in Ben Hill County. So we have 5 members on our board. I am the only female. And I actually, in 2016, I was the first Black female to ever be elected to a city or a county position here.
Okay, and what is a county commissioner?
We, as county commissioners, we pretty much oversee everything dealing with the county. We have the sheriff, the courts, the clerk, property taxes, things like that. So we oversee the budget. We make sure we're allocating money to different places. But for me, I decided to take my position a little further. I like to do more community work. I like to be seen a lot in the community, doing the work with the community, with the people. So I make sure I support different nonprofits in our area. I make sure if someone's having anything that I'm there, and I try to be visible, and I ran on being the change I want to see, so I can always try to be that change. So I'm always at something, doing something.
Okay, and can you speak a little bit about that? Like, I know people maybe do want to get into politics, they don't know where to go, but I know how you were saying that you were the first Black one that ran, and you're the only woman right now on the board. Is that what you're saying?
I am. I'm the first. I'm the first Black female to be on our board. So back in 2016, I found out some way that the commissioner that was sitting in my seat, he was going to retire. He decided after over 20 years on the board that he wanted to retire. And I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to get into local politics. My father actually was on a city council for almost 30 years. And I knew I wanted to create my own path. And I felt like I could do that on the county side instead of going in on the city side. And so I saw in the paper he was retiring, and I decided I was going to go qualify. And I pretty much qualified and told my whole family the next day, hey, I qualified for this position, and I would love your support. And my family was like, whatever you need, we got you. And my family, they were there every single step of the way. I decided to reach out to the commissioner who was retiring, and just ask him some questions. I did a lot of research about issues that were going on in the county. I made sure to reach out to people, and I had 3 men that were running against me, but I won in the end, and that was the most important thing.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Black right there. And so how is it like being the first Black woman running? Like, how was that? Right now, like being a woman, like everything that's going on, like how is it, and how have you been able to like navigate in this time frame of everything that's going on?
I think for everyone, for me going in, I think everybody was kind of like in a sense shell shocked, because they had not been used to a strong Black female who was not willing to back down, and I was gonna voice my opinion. So in their mind, I was just supposed to be there. I was supposed to be quiet, and I was supposed to, just not say a whole lot. And I'm like, no, I'm Hope. I'm here. This is what I promised my community, and this is what's gonna happen. And so over time, they have really learned to respect me. But at first, it was a challenge because I don't think some people didn't think I was intelligent. Some people didn't think I had a college degree. Some people thought all these things about me. But once they kind of realized this woman does her homework, she knows what she's talking about, and she is not backing down, they began to respect me. And I always tell people, you don't have to like me, but you will respect me, and we can work together from that point forward.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yes, like I'm here, I'm gonna be here, and that's what we
yeah I'm
do.
like my constituents voted me in. I'm not going anywhere. So that's all that matters.
And so you've been in the same position for 4
years?
Right?
I came in 2016 to fill an unexpired seat for my former commissioner, who's now my mentor. He's the greatest person ever. He really helps me out a lot. And in 2018, I had to run for re-election, and I was unopposed. I didn't have anyone to run against me. So I'll be in office until December 2022, and I fully plan on running again. It's every 4, but he decided to retire in the middle of his term.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's every 4.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
In 2022.
Okay, and yeah, you were saying that you're about to run again next. Yeah, 2022. I'm like next year's 2021. I'm cracking up. And so you said that you're like in a small town in Georgia, and so I know a lot of things are happening in Georgia and what be going on and stuff like that. So as a person that maybe like want to get their voice out there, voice heard, or they want to do stuff to help the community, what ways do you think that are the best ways to get involved in politics?
Definitely start going to the meetings, start going to the city council, commission meetings, school boards, whatever you're interested in. Start going to the meetings and start seeing what they're talking about, because a lot of times a lot of people don't come to those meetings, and so decisions are being made on our behalf that we know nothing about because nobody goes sometimes. I think if you start going to the meetings and also just start getting involved in your local groups, if you have a young Democrats group or if you have a young, whatever your political affiliation may be, just start getting involved in those groups and just start the work. I mean, even if you want to start working with maybe somebody who's already elected, and just start the work, start connecting with those people, start going to different events, and really just start being really knowledgeable about the things that are going on. And so once you see what's taking place and you know for a fact you don't like it, then you have a platform to run on. That these are the things I have seen, these things, and these are the things I want to change. And so just getting your community and getting your face out there and getting your name out there and really just start doing the work within your community, and people will support you. If they see you're in their community and they can see your face, they can put their finger on you, I know that person, they will support you.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I feel like sometimes even like me, you're like, what can you do? Like, I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. So I feel like right now it's really important to be out there, but also to get educated, know like the resources and stuff like that that's out there for people. So I know that you said that you're going to go for county commissioner again. Are you looking to go further into politics?
I really like being in local government because I feel like I can kind of do more on the local level to make sure people have what they need. I do have I have twins that are 6. So I do. A boy and a girl, they're twins. 6. And so I think right now for me, the local level is kind of where I'm making the biggest impact in my mind right now. But in the next few years, I am definitely going to be looking at a state representative seat or a senator seat, because I do feel like I have a really good career in politics, and I feel like I can definitely do more things for my community and others.
Mm-hmm. So is the county commissioner like a full-time
Oh
job, or
yeah,
you
you
guys have like a
it's
job
parts
in there
part
you do
part
that on the
time.
side?
Like you do look, you do not get paid. See, in like in our,
Okay,
because
okay, you're
we are
saying.
such a small community, we do not get paid a whole lot. You have to do it because you love it. I'm talking about like less than $500 a month kind of thing. And
Uh-huh.
so you have, right. So you definitely have to do
Oh
it
shoot,
because
barely even a side
the
hustle.
love of it. And so we're not in our communities, our
Mm-hmm.
size, we don't get paid a whole lot. There are some, because that's one of the things you always hear. Oh, you're making all this money,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing all these things. I'm like, no, I'm not. And a lot of times the money I make, I'm reinvesting it into the community, because people are always coming and say, hey, can you help out with this? Hey, can you help out with that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, well, I reinvest that money into the community in some type of way. Like right now, we do a backpack drive every year for the kids. Last year we gave away about 450 backpacks. I'm like, that money doesn't fall from the sky. So, I do I do definitely solicit sponsors, but I also save the
At
money I
all.
make as a commissioner as well to go toward that, because there are a lot of things I just simply buy myself.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Okay, and
we
how
have a
many
total of
commissioners
five
are there
commissioners
besides
in
you?
my
Are you the
county.
only one?
We have two in my district, two in the other district, and then we have one who is our chairman. He's at large. He runs for the whole county, so everyone in the county can vote for him.
Okay, that makes sense. And so within that city, there's like five. So all
Well,
y'all are like
the way
doing
our
different
board
things, or y'all
works
doing
is
the same
we
things?
all know our strengths in different ways. I have one commissioner, he's really great with numbers. Like he great with numbers. So the budget is going to be his thing. He'll sit down with our county manager, work that out, let us know what's going on. So I think we all have different interests. Economic development is my really big interest. I like learning about economic development. I love learning about like what are the
Mm-hmm.
different
I feel
things
that
that these
one.
developers are looking for coming in. So I'm always talking to our economic developers. We have two here, and I'm always talking with them. I'm always meeting with them because their job interests me so much. Um, and so we just all have different things that we really really like, and we all kind of just take a step back and let that person take the lead on that thing. We have one who's like really big with recreation, so recreation department is his thing. But at the end, we all do work together, and we really do all work together, and we all talk a lot about the different issues in our community, different things. There may be some things that I don't totally understand, but if my commissioner feels strongly about something, I'm gonna support him in that. And there are things that they don't understand that I need for my community, but if I feel really strongly about it, they support me in that. So we all have a really great
Mm-hmm.
working relationship and a really great mutual understanding, like for each other.
Oh, okay. So with everything that's going on, like how is your, I guess, your town or your city going? With like the Black Lives
Well,
Matter
a couple of
thing,
years ago, when I was
police
first
brutality and
elected,
stuff
we
like that. Like
decided
how
as a
is that?
community we wanted a new sheriff. So we decided together that we were going to stand behind someone else in our sheriff's department who wanted to run for sheriff. And since our sheriff has came into office in 2016, a lot of the issues we were having before we no longer have. He completely went in and changed the culture of our sheriff's department, I feel like, and we are able to have like really good relationships with him. And so if anything comes up, I know I can go talk to him. Or if he feels like anything comes up, he's more than happy to call me and say, hey, Hope, I need to talk about this. And I'm like, Lee, well, this happened and I need you to go. We need some good diversity training at the sheriff's department and things like that. So we've been lucky as a community. We haven't had those issues. But as a part, as a black woman, I stand behind that things do need to change in a lot of law enforcement places around the world, around the United States. As I look on TV and see some of the things that are happening, you don't have a heart if your heart doesn't go out to George Floyd's family. And so we've been able to have conversations. Like, I'm meeting with my sheriff this week. We're going to talk about our use of force policy. I personally have never asked him about use of force policy, but I want to know what it is, just in case, something happens. I need to know when is it okay for a officer to do something like that? Because to me, it's never okay. But when do you decide you're gonna pull out your gun instead of pulling out your taser? Things like that. So me and him are gonna have a really good in-depth conversation. There was a march in our community this past Saturday, Black Lives Matter march, and there were several speakers that were there. The sheriff was there and our police chief was there, and they both spoke, and they are in full support of doing whatever they need to do to ensure that the community knows that we're all gonna work together. We're all gonna work this thing out together. And if there's any issues with any officers, we need to let them know so they can handle it immediately.
Definitely understand. And so I know that you said that you brought up that you had like kids or whatever. And so have you like had those conversations with your children, or do you feel like they're too young to know about it, or are you just like, no, I'm telling them like,
one of my children, my son, he's 6, he's autistic and he's nonverbal, so which adds an even deeper layer. So one of the things we've done in our community here is making sure that our sheriff's department and our police department has really good relationships with the community that is intellectually and physically handicapped. So they come to the events, they go talk to them when they have different things, they make sure they're there. Because I want you to understand, just because my son, he's small now, but one day he's going to be a full-grown man and he can't talk. So if you tell him to do something, he's going to keep right on walking like he didn't hear you. So, and making sure they understand who these people are in our community and what's the best way for you to deal with them. Because I promise you, if you do something to them, it's gonna be a problem. Like, I'm ready. I'm like, we are ready. Because yeah.
Yes. I thought about that too. I thought about that too. Like, over the weekend, this girl, she's not deaf, but like she is a part of like the ASL. I don't know what it's called, community or whatever. And she did a video about like the police brutality and stuff like that. And I was just thinking, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, police aren't held accountable. Like, you gotta have compassion. Because what about people who are deaf?
They don't know.
They can't hear. They don't know what you're saying to them. They're looking at you, and they might throw their hand, and you might think it's a gun. They're like, and he can't even hear you. People of hard of hearing,
and that's why it's so
they
important
don't even
that you get these sheriffs
and
these police officers who are willing to come into your community and actually see what's going on and actually want to interact with the people. Because you have a lot of places where these sheriffs don't come out, these police officers, these police chiefs don't make their people come out. And I'm always telling people all the time, a lot of things can be solved in one election. Sheriffs are elected, police chiefs are hired, most of the time by the city council. You don't like your police chief, get on to your city council and your mayor, because they're hired. In some places, you have county police, and once again, a county police isn't a part of, like in Georgia, it's not a part of our Constitution. We only have to have a sheriff's department, and the sheriff is elected. So once again, if you have a county police in Georgia, that person is hired and fired by your county commissioners. So we kind of have to know our power in these things as well. And if you have somebody who's not willing to come out and not willing to do any kind of diversity training, not willing to make sure that officers understand the importance of being out in the community, those things can be changed in one election. And so, because that's the thing, that's what we did in 2016. Most police chiefs in Georgia are hired by the city. Well, cities are ran by the city council. So if you have a police chief that's problematic, you should be able to change that simply by either going to the city council and letting them know your issues, or switching out the city council, voting new people in with your city council who are gonna listen to those issues and get a new police chief.
Okay, so then you think that is one of the best ways to kind of try to start change is like maybe knowing who is your city council members and running for that city council if you want to be able to get in those rooms or learn about what's going on?
Yeah, I do. I think the best thing you can do is start going to those meetings, deciding if that person that is there is actually representing your interests and the interests of the community. And if you feel they are not, then I mean, the only thing you can do is qualify and run for the seat and try to win. And get people behind you, because one thing I've learned, all you have to do is get more people to vote for you than the other people. So, I mean, that's pretty much how it works. Just getting more people to come out and support you than that other person, because a lot of times you have people sitting home just because they don't want to vote for anybody that's on that ballot. I hear that time and time again. People say, well, I'm not going to go vote. Or they get so used to having someone on the ballot, they don't go vote when a good person has somebody running against them. So that's why it's so important that we vote in every single election, whether you have someone in there that you like or not. And if you don't like the person that's in there, the community doesn't stand by them, encourage someone else to jump in there and vote, and you and the community support them and get them in that position and see what they can do.
Yeah, definitely, because I didn't even know that, like, well, I'm not in Georgia, but I'm looking into relocating to Georgia or whatever. But, like, even what you're saying is, like, oh, the city council, like, I guess they have, like, kind of a voice, basically, and they can talk to the police department, not the police department, like, get the police chief, or you were saying the sheriff chief and stuff like that. And so even knowing that and how people are elected, that will be able to help people understand what's going on. And I think that's a lot of things, like, people don't always know what's going on. People don't understand what's going on. So being able to know about it and learning about it would be very important. Like, you don't know how much of a voice you can have with these different elections if you're not putting yourself out there, if you're not educating yourself on what you can do and what you can bring to the community.
I agree. I definitely agree. And you should be able to find all that stuff out from your city office, city council office, or if you have a county commission office, they should be able to tell you how those, or even talking to the elections, they should be able to tell you how people are voting in, how people are hired and fired with your city. That's all information that your city should be able to tell you, or your county. That should they should definitely be able to tell you that information, and all that information should be public records. And if there's anything you want to know about a city or a county and they're not forthcoming, you can file an open records request, and they have to hand over that information to you.
Yeah, I know. That is so crazy. Even right now, like, just learning about different things like that. I live in Kentucky. I necessarily don't really know the laws and what's going on, but I am interested in politics. But it's just like, you want to get involved in it, but you just don't even know where to go. So you just use your voice in different things in different ways, and you just try to figure it out. But I feel like sometimes, like, people do want to get involved and they don't know where to get involved or how to get involved. So I think this is really important, just being able to even know things that you can do right now. Like, I mean, yes, because people are marching out there, they are, and I shout out to them, but I just can't be out there right now, because it's a whole pandemic going on, and I just
I understand.
I can't really do that one. But, like, you can like get involved different ways and stuff like that. So
I totally agree.
I think it's important. I was going to ask, like, what ways do you think people can get involved besides just, I guess, not just marching, but besides, like, being out on the forefront and marching?
I think it's going to be going and asking your people who represent you tough questions as well. Going and asking those people tough questions, like, what is the use of force policy for your police department and your sheriff's department? That's something, good to know. Like, at what point would you?
Yeah, that really is.
And I think that's a question they should be able to pull the policy and give you a copy of it to let you know these are the things we're going to do. What are some things that we can do to make sure something like, what happened to George Floyd does not happen in our community? And I think the things that you have to do is have really good, hard conversations with the people that are in place to represent you. And, you know, even if you aren't on the city council, you still should be able to have a conversation with the police chief.
And so what do you think, like, with all this stuff going on and then the voting, like, I don't know, like, if you can see the future, not necessarily saying that, but like, what do you think should happen in the future with what's going on? Like, so there's no more George Floyd's or like Breonna Taylor's and stuff like that, even though those are two different, completely different, I guess, actions and what happened. But like, even to put it for like, what do you think should be next, I guess, for the agenda, for, I guess, the Black people to try to like take it a step further? So like, yes, you can run, yes, you can talk to these people, but say like if they don't want to run, you know, but they can talk to these people, like, do you know if there's any other things they can do? I guess any foundations, any funds, any money or anything like that? Do you have any advice on that?
I really don't know, because like you said, it's so many different situations that are happening right now, and you're kind of, you know, I'm kind of at a loss as well sometimes on what to do about these things. But I do, you know, and everybody doesn't want to run. I totally get that, but you definitely have to support people who are running and who are in place that are trying to change the culture there. I think it's going to be a lot of education. It's going to be a lot of diversity training going on in these police departments and with law enforcement. I think it's going to be making sure they hold that standard. And I think also it's not letting up. We have to continue to be consistent. I think that we can't, you know, we can't be upset today and then 6 months later we've forgotten all about the things we were upset 6 months ago about. I think in all the communities, we just have to really be consistent. We have to say, well, you know, this is what we talked about 6 months ago about diversity training. When is diversity training going to happen? Like, what are the people that you have in place that are going to do it? Is it somebody who is diverse themselves? you know, is it someone who is of African American that's doing the diversity training?
Yeah,
because
I was like a
it got to be a minority. Can't really, you know. But I've seen it happen in workplaces here lately where they're not getting minorities to do diversity training, which is which is problematic. And it causes trauma. And I think another thing that a lot of workplace, you know, you have to be willing to have those open conversations as well. I think that people of other races have to learn to listen when we say this is how we feel. I think they have to learn to just, you know, be quiet for a few minutes. Let us say how we feel. Don't automatically respond, because this is how I feel.
Yes.
And I'm okay.
Oh my goodness.
You have to be okay, because you're not walking in my shoes. This is how I feel.
You're not living in it yet. And that's what I think I was trying to say too. Like, I wrote a Facebook status like a couple days ago, and I was like, people aren't understanding the message. They don't want to understand the message. They're not listening to understand. They're listening to respond. When we are saying hold police accountable, we're not saying, well, I'm not saying that all cops are bad. I'm saying to hold them accountable, and what they're doing with these, even the power, the structure of just throwing people down, doing this, doing that, coming with tear gas, coming with all that other stuff that they're coming with, bats and stuff like that. Like, that's what we're saying. We're not saying that people don't need to be arrested who are doing wrong by the law, but George Floyd getting killed, I guess over $20 fraud or whatever. There's white men on Twitter talking about how he just casually says it at like a night at the bar with his friends, like, how one time this happened to me. Yeah, but George Floyd, he can't laugh about it because now he's dead.
Right.
And so I think that some people, like, they're not listening, and even talking about people like, I'm not saying that your husband is back because he's police. I'm saying that if you feel strongly about it, then he needs to tell them other police to quit killing people, to quit going so forcefully. Because I bet you if they didn't have no gun on them, they wouldn't be doing half the stuff that they was doing.
And you have to make sure, like, they're in it for the right reason as well. Are you really in it to make sure you have to make sure you're in it because,
like, you're not protecting.
You have to uphold.
You
have to uphold those things to protect and serve all. No matter what somebody's background is, no matter how you want to say, well, this person has done this before, we all have a past. We've all done things we're not proud of. But I would hope that wouldn't be used against me if someone put their knee on my neck and I died.
Literally, like he's saying that he cannot breathe. And one thing that stuck out to me was that anybody can be a police after 18 or you only got 6 months, but lawyers have to be 7 years. And that's when we talk about, here's another step, is like, it's systematic racism. Like another step, a police officer only has to go through 6 months training, but a lawyer has to do 7 years of schooling. That makes no sense.
No.
18-year-old
and I think officer. You need to have some diversity training within those police academies as well. You need definitely. To have those difficult conversations with them as well. Even if yes, the culture of that police department needs to change, but even looking at the curriculum at the academy to make sure like they understand this when they're going through that academy. But yeah, you don't have to go the school long at all to be a police officer. I think there's just a way more education that's needed. And I think the only way we're going to be able to do is through having good, conversations and letting them know, like, this is unacceptable. This is just not what we will accept.
Yeah, at all. And I think that's another level of what's going on. And I just feel like people coming from all different backgrounds and stuff like that, how they're saying, I seen something, it was like, yeah, these people are being police officers, they can be mad, like they could have been mad in high school at something, how people do them, and they taking it out on other people. Like, just because somebody does this to you doesn't mean that this person is a bad person, and sometimes like that, and people aren't listening to understand. So I feel like in the police academy, that's what we should be asking, like, what does y'all police academy look like? What is the steps? Like, what are y'all teaching them? Yes, for somebody who's armed is different than someone who's unarmed. Just because you feel attacked, he's unarmed. What can he do to you? He can't really do nothing to you.
I think those are good conversations we need to have. Department of Corrections here. You have people most of the time at the state level that are over those things.
You about to have me go into a new profession.
But they are. Most of the time, the people that are over like the Department of Corrections are the people that are over like the Georgia Department of Safety, over the State Patrol. They're typically appointed. So they're appointed typically by the governor. So I feel like it wouldn't be wrong to say, hey, we just need to have these real good conversations. Like, what are they teaching them about this stuff? Is this something that we can mandate by the state, not just let it be a police? They went to the police academy. Can we mandate it across the state to say, hey, everybody has to go through this training before they can step foot in a car or step foot on whatever they call it?
Yes, and how they were saying how those police officers, like, they the George Floyd one, like 9 months, like they were 9 days, they were 30 days. Okay, well, who was teaching them? Because they was up on that man's back, neck, knee, everything. Who was teaching them how to do that stuff? And so, like, I just don't understand, and I just feel like sometimes it is kind of like a lost battle. It's like, what do we do? What can we do? And that's why sometimes being on social media is good. Sometimes
it can be bad.
It can be overwhelming and stuff like that because so much is going on. You don't really know what to do. So you have to take a step back. But I'm going to do what I can do and just educate, tell people to vote, to help people learn about what are different things they can do. I mean, because all 50 states are different too. And that was another thing that I was talking to my friend about. Honestly, it's like in Georgia, this could be something, but in Florida, it could be something.
It's all different.
And states are separated. And I feel like that's another thing that goes into, even with schooling, and that goes into other things like that, like I guess like housing and money and different things. And so I just feel like all together, like, I guess you can't fix every single thing, but if you could start with one thing, I mean, one thing, just making sure like police across the board, across the United States, are all held to the same standard. Maybe we can start with something
because even when you look at the laws, all the state laws are different. How somebody can be charged with what, and I'm like, it's all, every state is different. Every DA is different.
Yeah, like
it's weird.
Oh yeah, like in Kentucky, I guess like you can have a license like expired up to like 3 months or something like that. And don't quote me because that's what my friend was saying. But I'm like, shoot, you wouldn't even want to try that because right now in this time they might kill you over a license.
I'm not gonna try it.
I'm not gonna try it. But in Georgia, you might can only do it for like 30 days or something.
Yeah,
like that. So
you're right.
different things. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but I'm just giving
you're
an
right
example.
though. I mean, everything is different from state to state, so you really don't. It's kind of like when you cross that border, you don't really know what you're dealing with.
You don't really know it. Yeah, you don't know who you gonna get. You don't know what police officer you gonna get today. And so I think that's really important. But also for like police officers to understand, like, okay, there's a tail light coming out. Well, I mean, can you just try to see if that person lives in this state or not? Like, can you try to know, like, tell them instead of like going and escalating it? Like, you already should know the racial barrier and what's going on and stuff like that. And then one thing I did hear, like, I be hearing on Facebook people saying, they're like, well, yeah, like, this lady was like, well, my dad got shot in the back from a police officer, something like that, so she was white. And I'm like, well, girl, why aren't you saying something? Why aren't you standing up? This ain't like, it's a Black Lives Matter thing, that's what they're saying, but I don't necessarily want to say it's not Black Lives Matter, but it's holding police accountable. Why aren't you talking if he's shooting him behind the back? Y'all just gonna keep letting them shoot white people too? I mean, at this point, it's police and its power. It's not black based. It's really not black against white. Honestly, it's police authority holding them accountable in their power and what they're doing to citizens.
And it's kind of like weeding out
what I think.
And that's also weeding out the bad from the good, because you have so many good police officers who are doing everything right, and then you have this whole other set that just are hell bent on doing everything that's wrong. You know,
like, and so that's the real conversations. But I think that it gets so lost, and people are like, Black Lives Matter, like, it gets so lost to the people because they're like, well, all lives matter, which we're not saying that all lives don't matter. That's not what we're saying. But I think they get confused. Just because it ain't happened to you, don't mean that it's not going to happen to the person next to you. So yeah, I feel like that's what I was talking about, like with the message in the conversation. Like, people aren't really understanding it because they see all this stuff, they see all what's going on, the march and the doing things. But I'm like, y'all just sitting at home, y'all ain't saying that, y'all ain't doing nothing, y'all ain't saying nothing. So, but y'all have so much to say about everybody else.
I agree. I'm like, if you're not doing anything, you really don't have a right to criticize. You don't have a right to criticize. The thing about it is, I might not agree with a lot of things that are going on because that is not my way. Like, I know I'm more of a level-headed person. I don't mind talking to people, no matter how mad you get at me. I'm probably gonna sit at that table, be looking at you like you, and I'm still gonna be like, well, when you're done, we can still talk. Like, so, and I know that's that's what I'm strong at. I'm strong at talking to people and having difficult conversations. It doesn't bother me. But other people, they rather be in the streets, doing their thing in the streets. They don't want to be at the table. So I think everybody has their place in any type of movement. You just have to find it, because there's a place for everybody. And an injustice to one is an injustice for all at the end of the day.
Literally. Yes, literally. I don't think they understand that too. And that's true. And that's sometimes, like, I can hear when people are like, I'm not educating you, like, I'm not educating people, like, they have Google. Well, some people, they're just not going to do it. And so if I have to use that time to educate people, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to respond to people on Facebook and send them messages in the comments. They're going to read it. They're going to get mad over they're going to read it.
I agree.
It don't matter.
You have to educate people. You have to.
What you can do. Yeah. I think you do too. And so I feel like sometimes people like misconstrue that. It's like, you got to educate people. Well, they're like, I don't want to educate people, whatever. Okay, well, if that's the difference between somebody dying and somebody getting this, I'm just going to educate. And that's probably, I like to educate. So I like to provide resources. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I say, I guess, figure out your lane and figure out what you can do. If you can go out there and stand and protest and boom, okay, you get out there with your, whatever,
your signs and stuff,
posters and protests. Yes, your signs. I couldn't think of it. Signs. If I'm going to educate, then I'm going to go. I'm going to call everybody up in there. I'm going to be at the police academy. So what y'all doing with this training? What y'all doing with this? So different people are doing the work. And so I just think sometimes it's like people feel like people aren't doing work. And then if you have money, well, come and donate to that foundation that you can have. Like, so there is different organizations and there's different ways to get involved. You just got to really find your lane and figure out what you want to do. That's how I feel about it. So yeah, I think that's really important. With that, I think you're talking with me about this. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Like, you would like to say that you feel like people should know, people should hear about?
I'll invite people to come like my Facebook group. I have a Facebook group called Casera's Voice. Yes. Casera's Voice was started in honor of my sister. My sister, who was 8.5 months pregnant, was killed September 15th of 2019, about 2 miles down the road from my house. We still are fighting for justice every single day until her murderer is brought to justice, because unfortunately the baby, she didn't survive either. So I started Casera's Voice out of, it was definitely a place of pain, but through that we do advocate for families who've gone through traumatic situations like we have by sharing their stories. We're gonna start doing some counseling on there as well, having different counselors come on and talk about how you can deal with traumatic situations like we have. And we also definitely advocate for any family, through, even if it's telling them about different resources in Georgia where they may be able to seek counseling or get help with burial expenses or anything like that. We're doing that. And in the future, we plan to do a lot more with it. But right now, that's what we're doing. So Casera's Voice is on Facebook. Just please, if you go on there and share my posts about my sister, because we're doing everything we can to make sure her murderer is brought to justice.
Yes, well, I hope you all find her, and I know that you were talking about that as well. And I looked at the stuff on Facebook, and I seen it or whatever. And I think that is really important to know what's going on, and that is in your city, and that you are so involved in your city, and you want people to do better and be better, but also, like you said, injustice anywhere. Like, people should not be murdered in general. Nobody should be. And so being able to use your voice and still keeping her voice alive with you saying that you're that like what is it a foundation?
We're gonna make it a nonprofit. It's gonna be a nonprofit eventually. It's just been so much going on these last few months, but that is the plan in the future. It will be a nonprofit because we want to do like things on like gun violence for the kids here in the community. We want to give what I really want to do in the end is give children another option. That you don't have to be out here in these streets. We can do some after school program type things. You don't have to. We can do things in the summer with you, letting young girls know that if a man is violent towards you, you don't need that. Self-esteem building with young girls. Right. So those are all the things we do plan on doing.
Do you not have a YMCA?
We do not.
Do you have not a? Do you like?
We do not. Okay. We don't have YMCA. We don't have a Boys and Girls Club. We don't have any of that stuff here.
Well, I'm in the same small town like you. They don't have that here either. But that's what I was wondering. That's something I want to do in the future, like mentorship and program, whatever. But it's just so much, and you can't really figure out our filing support to do it in different areas. But yeah, that's interesting. But I hope it all goes well, and I'm so excited. I'll follow your journey, and I can't wait till y'all be able to get into a nonprofit. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for coming on, and go follow her on Facebook.
It's at Casera's Voice.
Casera's Voice, okay?
Kasara and then Voice, VOICE.
Yes. Okay, yes, thank you so much. There's a new podcast on the block, and it is called A Shot of Facts, a humorous yet brutally honest podcast on approaching adulthood. We bring our truth straight with no chaser. The host is Deja Renee, and you can find her on Instagram, Shot of Facts Pod.